You're in the Big Sleazy here with Buck Townsend and Chapel Blues out in my backyard right here. Well, I moved down here to be a musician about 6 years ago, and that things are just starting to pick up in that front. Playing gigs and scraping by. Tonight we're playing a gig at the Saturn Bar, and the Saturn Bar is one of those really old shitty neighborhood bars that has somehow grown into the hipster respect. And it's like a funky, shitty kind of roadhouse environment, but there's some interesting aspects you might notice. The walls have this really unique sort of like outsider folk art kind of shit going on. There's really odd neon. It's a cool spot, and so we're gonna go and play a bunch of material that's coming up on our next album and off of our last album, Bed of Roses. Definitely should be a good time right now. It's Jazz Fest Saturday, the first weekend, and all over, pretty much every musician who's worth anything is playing a gig tonight, as far as I can tell. This is a time you want to be playing. This is like, you know, this is finals for musicians in New Orleans right now. You got to be fucking out on the scene, or you're just probably not really doing it. So this motorcycle right here kind of gave me my name, which is why I chose to sit on it. I was driving this baby in New Mexico back to the West Coast from New Orleans here, which is a long, arduous drive. And in the night, I hit this motorcycle. I collided with a buck on the freeway and crashed miserably. You know, I was going 60, I hit the buck, probably going about 40, crashed, rolled, broke my fucking ankle, touched my patella, like sheared the skin off my knee, broke some ribs. Didn't have any health insurance, so I hitchhiked to the hospital with this dude in a Camaro, this Mexican guy, and made it out alive, and decided afterwards, in memory of the buck which I hit, which probably died a pretty painful death, didn't have quite the same luck I did, bless its poor, stupid animal soul, decided in hindsight to go by Buck Townsend because my middle name is Townsend, and to commemorate the experience in the buck. And so I'm working on two things right now. My main band is Chapel Blues, which you'll see tonight, but then I also sort of play with a couple other folks, and I call it Buck Townsend and the Roadkill. Definitely a lot of blues and sort of like funk and grit in it, but then there's also some sort of complex like jazz chordal structures, and the lyrics are almost more sort of like folk poetry kind of thing going on. I'm trying to create or hone the style that I'm doing, and a lot of the people here definitely are doing that. And New Orleans has its own sort of like musical soul and musical character that is really attractive to me, but I don't necessarily want to replicate it per se, but I do want to sort of drink from the communal fountain of New Orleans soul and like add that to the rhythm and such that I have in my music. That's a good question. What is it about New Orleans? New Orleans is sort of halfway between America and Latin America, and in a weird way, sort of Europe and the Caribbean. There's this sort of like, there's this attitude about how to live here. Anything goes kind of attitude, and there's also just such a weird, bizarre melting pot of culture. New Orleans is a good spot to like lose sort of connection with what's going on and just focus on the music or your art thing. And if you really have the skill and the talent, I think this is a good spot to build it and maybe succeed at it. It's been great being part of your project here, Tom, and the Daring Dynamos. And if you want to check out what's going on here in New Orleans, where Tom stopped, you should check out facebook.com/chapelblues. I'm Buck Townsend. Keep on bicycling.